Peace, what's going on? Welcome to Intellectually Foolish, your brother Wise done where intellectually meets foolishness. And we got a couple of people missing today, but that's okay. But we got our good brother Karan back up in here.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
behind the audio. You know, he had to work, he had to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? But he's back. You know. But he never really left because he just been doing this shit for the podcast page. So, you know, he always been around. He just ain't been behind audio. And we have a good guest and an old friend of mine. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Kimani. And old time friends, school friends.
Yeah.
Annoyed my whole life, but it's fine. Learn to live with it.
Okay.
You know,
have I?
It's not as annoying anymore.
Oh shit! Okay.
You kind of grow on people after a while.
Are you mature? Either one. How everything been though?
Everything's been fine. You know, I'm a breeder, so I've been raising kids.
Damn.
I've been raising kids. Kind of just trying to change that dynamic recently. Like trying to find out who I am outside of being a mom, a sister, a daughter. Trying to find out more.
Okay. Yeah. See that?
Who I am outside of being a mom, a sister, a daughter. You know, it's not fun though.
And why is that?
Because I didn't even realize it was really important, like to still have some type of individuality, even like in our marriages and when it comes to parenting, like who are you as an individual? What do you like? What type of things make you happy? Because we end up in relationships with people where we kind of lose those things, right? Or we start to take on like ideologies or practices of other people that we don't necessarily resonate. But because we're not familiar with the things that we like for ourselves, then, you know, we feel like these are things that we have to take on or, you know, we don't have any other options. And a lot of people get lost like that. I'm not trying to go through that. Does this part be? I feel like it's going to keep falling. Okay.
It been that way. If you want to scoot your chair up a little bit, just in case, you know, you want to get closer.
Hard labor too. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go.
Part of that.
So, did you feel like you lost yourself?
I have. I mean, I've gone through a few periods of losing myself. Just through life experiences, losing my dad was definitely a pivotal moment for all of us. But I mean, just rediscovering yourself, rebranding yourself, that's a process that you can go through too by choice. Some people don't come back from that. So
you don't mind me asking, how did he pass?
Heart problem. So you know, our dad always had heart issues, so he was always in and out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. But just that last time, you know, he just never got better. You know what I mean? So it was tough for us because in our minds, you know, we felt like, okay, well, you know, dad been in and out the hospital. He'll be back home, you know, this time. But it was just like us watching him. And mind you, he's the strongest man we've ever known. Like, we barely ever saw him cry, you know, never seen any weak moments. So once we saw him get to that point, it was just kind of like, you know, me and DJ looking at each other like, yo, like, you know, it's probably it's not looking too good. So I'm glad I wasn't there. DJ was there. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I don't know. It was really tough when it first happened. But, you know, he did his time. He was a great father. He taught us a lot of great things. You know, he's just not going through it no more. So you kind of learn to live with it.
So how long ago did he pass?
2013. So it almost been 10 years. And it seemed like time speed up after that. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But
How long did it take you to somewhat overcome that pain, or does it still don't leave?
Okay,
it wasn't as hard.
It's something that never truly leaves you, especially like if you have a close relationship with your parents, like I did. Mm-hmm. So I want to say maybe like the first 4 years was really difficult. Like, yeah, the first 4 years was really difficult. And then I had another baby on top of that. And so like the whole 2015, I was just depressed. It was horrible. But I don't know, just gradually with time, I kind of just came out of that process and, you know, I got to discover new things, both about myself, about the world, about other people. And so, you know, you realize it's not as empty as it seems in the beginning when everything first happens, you know?
Yeah.
I was a daddy's girl, so I was a red.
So what did you do to overcome your depression?
I found hobbies, things to like DIY. DIY really, really helps with, not DIY, but just finding creative things to do really helps to offset depression. Working out I know a lot of people don't like going to the gym. That's another like stress reliever. I was just talking to Jamie about that the other day. Just finding things to do, trying not to sleep in too much, go get some sunlight, stay hydrated, definitely change your diet. It's a lot of things you can do.
So,
you ever been depressed before?
Yeah, I think we all been depressed. We all been depressed. Most people, that's the thing. I used to like sleeping in the dark.
Yeah, see, yeah.
I like sleeping in the dark. Leave me alone.
At peace. Windows, blacked out, everything. Yeah.
You don't want to be bothered. You just become like a hermit or some shit.
So how do you come out of yours?
It's been a minute. I haven't had nothing tragic to me happen as much as y'all two have. Y'all both lost y'all fathers. Mm-hmm. I can't say, because that type of depression is...
No, there's no classifying depression. Depression is depression, right? How you got there, it can differ for different people. But depression, the way that, of course, how it affects people can differ, can span out, to higher extremes for different people. But depression is still depression. You know what I mean? It's still the same feeling, sometimes more intense for other people. So it doesn't make your experience any less relevant as somebody who lost a parent, because it's still something that you're dealing with internally that you need to overcome. So
you're right.
So just don't downplay your experiences.
No, because for me is that when I look back at it, I don't think the things that I felt myself to be upset or saddened about wasn't as important as I thought it would have been, right? And so I could say most people, let's put it this way, most people say, I don't have social acceptance, I don't feel like I'm loved, I feel like I'm not appreciated either by family, friends, whoever. Mm-hmm. Some may feel like they don't have the things that they want in life, so that might make them depressed. Mm-hmm. But looking back at it, where losing somebody is kind of more tougher to me, because now this person that you see and love and you care for, you don't see this person every day no more. Mm-hmm. It's almost taking a big chunk out of your heart, you know what I'm saying, and trying to replace that, you know what I'm saying, and you just looking for things just to fulfill you. Those things that's lost and you can never get back. So that's why I'm like, it's hard to say, because we had this conversation about that type of depression before, and I always feel that if people really analyze and look at how or why the things that depress them is probably really that much, not much important. I feel that anytime somebody's depressed, I feel more sympathy for people who have lost somebody, and it's just really lost somebody.
Too. I know that sounds horrible. That probably sounds horrible. Not less sympathy. It's just like there's 9 times out of 10, there's something that you can do to change the dynamic. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Things you can't control, like I can understand that. But like you depressed because you don't have a lot of friends, go make new friends. You get what I'm saying? You depressed because your job's stressing you out, go get a new job. You know what I mean? You depressed because you don't have enough money, find another avenue of income. There's always something more. You don't feel well and you just can't figure out, okay, change your diet for a while. Maybe it's what you're eating is contributing to that. Like there's always things that you can do. So my sympathy, I'm gonna have some sympathy because of course I'm a people person, but it's only gonna go so far for like really small things that can be changed. Yeah. Because at that point I feel like you just looking for sympathy.
Yeah, and see what I'm saying. So it's 2 things: people health and people losing somebody.
Yeah.
So if somebody got cancer, I'm like, damn, I understand. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody who's just got a real type of sickness or illness, I can understand. Somebody losing somebody very, very close to them, I can understand. But when it's like, I fucking hate my job, I'm saying, quit.
Right.
Quit. Go get something else. You'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? Or go get a career. Go do something you really like. You'll be okay. But to lose a child or to lose a parent, to lose a sibling, that is devastating. So,
but see, you say that. What you just mentioned, I felt the same way, like as far as, so I lost the dad, right? But if I lost the child, like that would have impacted me way more than, they're both significant losses. Mm-hmm. But to carry something within your body and create something and bring it to life and then to lose that's way, like, you know what I mean? Like if it would have been the opposite and it would have been one of us passing away, my daddy would have been sick right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
So
you don't think
so? Just like the regular depression, you feel doesn't scale up as much as losing somebody. But losing a parent in comparison to losing a kid, in my opinion, is more extreme, or not as extreme as that. Because
I think those two are almost the same.
It's not.
You probably right as a mother. Because I don't have no child. Cause I say because you give birth to them.
True.
You give birth to them. But I still feel that, you know, when you grow up, or even being a child to an adult, this person is all you know. That's your world. True. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying we trying to live off this planet, this earth die. We need this motherfucker to survive. So sometimes when you have a parent, that's all you know. This is who made you. This is who showed you what love is. This is who showed you how to be strong. These are the people who molded you. So when
children teach you those same things all over again too. So you learn them from your parents, or what they perceive. So you can't really knock them because they go off of, you know, what they were taught, what type of environmental things they were exposed to, etc. Right? And so it's not always, you know, the best of lessons that they give to us. So, but when you have children, you start to really see the dynamic of the things that they taught us and things that may have not necessarily been applicable. And so you start to change a lot of those things. You relearn what love is. You relearn accountability. Even if you didn't know it before, that was me. Like, I really, really struggled with accountability. You know,
and why is that?
I had my son, I don't know. Maybe it's natural. Probably got it from my mom. My mom was not an accountability person at all. But I did. I was really like, I would, if I had to apologize for something, like, I would feel like I was about to pass out. Like,
damn. Why?
So when I see like online and I see people joking about like, oh, women don't like to take accountability, whatever, I'd be like, like, that was me for a minute. Even, I mean, I'll do it now because I realize the importance of it. And when you've dealt with people who also don't deal with accountability, and you start to realize the impact that it really has, it's like, okay, maybe I should start to put this in practice, because I can't necessarily tell you like, oh, you're not taking accountability, and I don't do it.
So let me ask you, what was it about it that you didn't want to take accountability for?
I mean, it's a plethora of things. Just saying I'm wrong was really my issue. It wasn't necessarily what I did. Just being prideful and having to say like, okay, I was wrong.
So let me ask you, as a woman, do you feel that it had more to do with you feeling guilt?
No, pride. It was pride for me, for sure.
Why?
Because I don't like saying. Well, I didn't.
No, but I'm saying, did you feel like you feel bad?
Like
did you feel bad if you had to admit that you was of your own actions? Did you have to feel that I was wrong, and you had to look at yourself to say, damn, am I really like that? And so to avoid from you feeling that feeling of, you know, how shitty you are, made you say, I don't want to apologize.
Probably so.
That's what I'm saying. So was it the guilt? That's what I'm saying. Because the guilt is like, damn, I'm fucked up. I do some fucked up shit. Because pride will be like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't need that shit. Then the guilt is like, oh, I know I do some fucked up shit. But I know if I really analyze and look at myself,
it was foul.
I was foul. And you don't want to feel that that pain of, you know, you being a fucked up person, and say, you know what, I'd rather just not apologize because I don't even want to think about me being this type of person.
That's true. So maybe then, when you put it in that aspect, then maybe it was a little splash of guilt.
I think, listen, that's why that's always been my hypothesis about it with women, is that y'all are very so emotional that,
understandably so.
Yeah, so the fact that when you feel something, you don't want to feel some type of pain or hurt that you know somebody could give you, but you doing it to yourself.
True.
So you rather avoid feeling that, and I'd rather throw it out to make it seem like it wasn't a point. It ain't me. It's somebody else. Just to reflect it.
True.
So I say I feel like it might be guilt for some women. Reason why they don't want to admit the truth of saying I fucked up. Because with guys, when we know we fucked up, y'all say y'all did this shit. We got to sit there and.
No, not all the time. No.
Not all of us, but some. I think, but in private we do though. And then amongst even their friends, they be like, man, I fucked up. They may not tell you. See, but I think, but the thing is with girls, with women, y'all have more support with your fucked upness. Yeah, y'all do. Cause
so I'm not.
Listen,
I'm a little bit different. I'm not really one of those type of people. Like my friends, I don't. Okay, so you know how it's gonna sound weird as hell. So I grew up a tomboy, right? So most of the friends that I made was when I got to high school. Once DJ left school, because I didn't have my brother no more. That was like my sidekick. I don't really like tell my friends stuff I be doing. You know what I mean? Like by the time my friends find out something that I've been doing, it's like they found out like down the line, or you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be like, oh girl, guess what? Whatever. I mean, every once in a while, depending on the situation, but I usually don't tell people either, especially if I'm wrong, because then they're gonna be like, oh, Kimani, you shouldn't have did that.
So what I'm saying, see, but that's what I'm saying. I feel that if you did do something, a woman would hear more supportive friends like, girl, he fucked up. Yeah, he is out of line for that, and you hear that.
True.
And so that's the support system that y'all have. That it's not accountability that her friends is making you as a woman say, hey, you know what? Hey, no, Kimani, you was wrong for that.
But we all have friend groups like that.
I tell them like, no, you fucked up for that, bro.
Okay, but that's because you're an individual who believes in accountability. That doesn't mean that the next man feels that way.
You're probably right.
I'm pretty sure you got a friend somewhere that be like, man, fuck these ones. We can, man, listen, they'll be all right. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like that. Let's not pretend like we don't know people that are like that. Like, man, they would. Well, if it was them, and if you know what I mean, just going into justify. It happens on both sides of the spectrum.
I think with men will probably help out with the situation. And what I mean is, like, let's just say you fucked up, like, oh yeah, bro, you know what you should do? Just tell her, give her some flowers. I know you fucked up, but just do this.
Y'all do that.
I think it's that. We gonna help you out and say, you know what, this how you get it back. Just, hey, be alright though, bro. You know, so I know you fucked up. Hey, you should have had your phone or something. To them, if the girls are like, girl, he just fucked up, he just out of line, blah blah blah. I'm just saying that point.
Some of them, because you have some friends, like I have friends that be like, Kimani, you know that wasn't right.
That's good though, man.
You know what I mean?
But you don't have too many of them women.
That's true, but there's not a lot of men like that either. We're not gonna act like it's a large plethora.
I'm not. But I'm just saying.
Not to say that they can't get to that point, because I don't want to make it seem. I know I joked when I came in here. I don't want to go into like no male bashing thing, because I feel like y'all need y'all flowers, but we're not gonna pretend like that's not something. That's not. There.
No, I'm just saying the way men do it is more of they see that they fucked up.
More solutionary than emotionally. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and that just be it. And
that's true.
I think that's what it is.
So we go into the theatrics, girl. Because what about that one time? Man?
Exactly, that type of shit. So let me ask you. So what else? Why do you feel that you had to rebuild yourself, or you lost, or what is your perspective on losing yourself? Do you feel that you really lose yourself? Because to me personally, I don't think nobody really lose themselves.
Not necessarily. Well, I guess losing yourself is such a blanketed statement, right? Mm-hmm. But more like losing touch with yourself, or maybe not being able to identify with this version of yourself, because we grow over time, and there are things that we like today that we didn't like 10 years ago. There are things that we like to do 10 years ago that we wouldn't do today.
So can we start saying we finding more truth within ourselves?
Absolutely.
Instead we losing ourselves or trying to find ourselves, we say we're finding more truth in ourselves. Cause I think that's where you try to find your
or discovering self, I guess you would say. Because I couldn't even really say that I could have told you who I was.
What you mean?
Like, there was a large period of time after. So our parents was hella strict growing up. So going into adulthood, I felt like I knew what I was doing, but I was oblivious. Like, I didn't even realize like how sheltered we really were. Mm-hmm. And so now looking back, I'm like, I was so naive. Like, I thought I knew everything. I mean, I knew some stuff, but it wasn't anywhere close to what I thought I knew then. So,
as far as what?
A lot of things. Like, okay, so for me, I think, when I was in school, I was like I was a tomboy growing up. So going into adulthood, I didn't realize that was going to be an issue, right? Okay. So, like, you know what I mean? Trying to date and wearing baggy jeans, and we got the same sneakers on and T-shirts, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, like, like, I think you cute, but, we got the same sweats on. Like, I just went and got mine last night. So, learning what femininity is, and that took a long time, and there's a long story behind that, but I'll leave that for another day.
So I'm saying, Would that? Do you feel like that was discovering yourself?
Learning femininity as a woman, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you got to think, I was operating. So I think I was just having this discussion with somebody the other day, like how we all have a combination of both masculine and feminine energy in us, right? I was operating my masculine.
I'm going to hold on to that thought when you say that. Go ahead, though.
Okay. I was operating in my masculine for a very long time, not even realizing it because I didn't even understand like the dynamic of what that meant, right? Or the polarity between the two. So, just out of survival, and then, after having kids and, different things I picked up from like, different people or whatever, I really didn't know who I was, honestly. And so those were things I learned through other people, like, oh, I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like how that's how I don't want to do that. Like, that seems interesting. I'm going to try that. You know what I mean? Like going through all these different phases. And then after a while, like, I don't like none of this shit. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I'm just going to go into isolation because apparently I'm not supposed to be out here.
Okay, so with I feel that in society, humans always try to categorize something as male and female, right? We try to identify something that has a placement with somebody either being a male, female, and in science, there's no such thing as a masculine or a feminine energy. Energy is just energy. So when I say that, is that can you identify this being a male or a female? This is energy, though. When you eat that apple, is that a male or a female? You know what I'm saying? It's just an apple. It's just a source of energy. Do you feel that the influence that you had and the things that you partaken in as a child made you accustomed to being a certain way,
yes,
and acting a certain way?
Absolutely.
So, did you feel that you being influenced, was that really short masculinity, or was that just something that you just attracted to be a certain way? To, let's just say, you have brothers, you have friends, so you say, okay, I got to be tough. Because sometimes you may find certain people of a sibling that you may look up to be almost a hero to you, or somebody you want to copy or be like. And so you feel that your brother or anybody else was, let me be like this, and let me see that I'm not soft to being a punk or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that could have just have been it? And then after you start shedding some of that, you start seeing that, damn, I really want to be a lady. I mean, not even that you are a lady, but I'm saying you start wanting to say, I want to be a little bit more feminine than a little bit more rough, because me being rough is not, it's not getting it.
So you kind of packed in two questions. I'm going to hold that last one because I have a different answer for that one. When I started to see the reaction of the men I was dealing with once I did, because I went through like a makeover phase at probably like when I turned 19. Mm-hmm. And when I noticed like how they reacted to me after like I changed into a more feminine, that's kind of what thrust me into that. And that's what kind of made me understand like the difference between like, you know what I mean? It wasn't that they weren't still talking to me or whatever the case was, but I just didn't, I don't know. It's so embarrassing.
Why?
But because there's so many like, I don't know, just learning. There's a lot that goes into being a woman, right? I had to learn how to do my hair and all kind of weird stuff. So I don't know, it was just tough. But seeing their reactions was kind of like inspiring to me, and I was like, I kind of like that.
You like that?
Get me some heels tomorrow.
What else was the other question that you had?
So you were asking me, do I really believe? Because you were saying energy is just energy, which is the true thing. So when I'm talking about masculine, feminine, masculine is more action oriented, right? So anything that deals with action, anything teaching, what we're doing right now, this is masculine. Anything action oriented, anything feminine stuff is more emotional, soft, nurturing. You know what I mean? Like the non-tangible type of thing.
So let me ask you, when let's just say this is a hunter-gathering group, right? And the older women was teaching women how to be a certain way. That's still not feminine, even though they's teaching?
So when she's in a teaching state, in the moment that she's teaching, because it's an action-oriented thing, she's leaning a little bit more into her masculinity to teach, right? That's not to say, how am I trying to put this? Because I don't want to make it sound all confusing, but teaching, when you're in a moment of teaching, in that moment where she's teaching, she's leaning not completely masculine, but she has to lean a little bit more into her masculine side in order to be able to bring forth the lesson, right? Because it's action based.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, you're a mother bird, right? And you're feeding your little baby birds, doing all that shit, right? And you're teaching them how to say, this is what you need to do to fly. Is that bird doing something masculine?
So that's more of a nurturing moment. So when I'm standing before a group teaching something, then that's more of a masculine exerted energy. Whereas as if I'm providing you with a meal, you know what I mean, or I'm nurturing, it's different. Or if I'm teaching you a lesson like, hey son, you want to make sure you pull your pants up so you look presentable, or whatever the case is, that's a nurturing lesson. Now if I yell it to him like, hey, you need to, you know what I mean, then that's me leaning a little forward. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
You explaining it, I just feel that. So what made you come up with that concept? Or even that perspective or that understanding of why something is masculine?
Books I've read, documentaries. I'm trying to think what was the most pertinent. Have you ever read? Okay, you ever heard of Shahrazad Ali?
I think so.
Okay, and have you ever? She has two books. Well, she has a few books, but the two main ones, she has The Guide to Understanding the Black Woman and The Guide to Understanding the Black Man. And she talks about the different dynamics of things that we've gone through as a community and what we've experienced that has kind of gotten us in the states that we're in now, and just kind of helping each other to understand why the other individual feels that way and how we can have a little bit more sympathy toward their situation and recognizing things in ourselves that we may not have necessarily seen, especially when it comes to like Black women, like how we address our children, how we address our mates, how we attempt to control them through either attitude or, not feeding them or not giving them the things that they're entitled to, within a relationship, and, different manipulation tactics and, where those things come from and how to change that dynamic. And so, I don't know. It's just a plethora of different things.
What's the preference?
I don't know. Masculine, feminine. Feminine is emotionally based, nurturing, soft, loving. Masculine is action oriented, strong.
Action.
No?
I don't know. Because
what do you view it as? If I were to ask you, what's the difference between being masculine and being feminine, what would you say?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. I feel like
yourself a masculine man.
Yeah.
Okay, what makes you a masculine man?
Strong, leading, wise.
You teach,
but in a sense, that's where I look at everybody teaching away. Because you learn something from somebody. True. That's how we able to get as far as we got as society and as a people, especially on this planet, is by teaching. Every last one of us taught something. So with me, I'm always looking back as hunter-gatherers. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because human beings is over about 300,000 years old.
True.
So, and then when you look at civilization, only 6, right? So that means for what? Huh?
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, what you about to say?
No, I was about to say that's the white people.
No.
About 6,000-7,000.
Yeah, they have. But I'm just saying, but our civilization known is about to be 6, 7. Algae culture is about 10,000, right? So what we saying? What's the math? What? 294,000 years we've been hunter-gatherers. And you might as well say even more than that, because before Europeans came across the world, it was still hunter-gathering groups. So you look at socially, how did these people interact with each other, and what was the dynamics? Did they just understand there were just certain roles that we got to play in society to survive in this environment, or was they, like, because every culture
created their own.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes we'll either see a certain group of people, or we will look at, or we'll read about a certain group of people. What I really want to say, almost that we'll look at somebody that's probably like Jewish, or we'll look at somebody. I mean, the Jewish as far as the Bible. Then we'll look at another group that we'll probably heard about. Let's just say we could say the Aztec. Though there was other mass fucking groups of Native Americans in Central, South, and Americas. Mind you, in Americas over like 500. So I guarantee you, every last one of the dynamics on how they did in their society was totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So same thing in Africa. So in my mind, I'm thinking that I don't think they was like, hey, this is feminine and this is what's. I think they looked at it. We're in a sense of creation.
Natural. You have a natural. You literally. Okay, so how am I trying to put this? So we know men have more testosterone. Usually, typically. I'm not gonna say that. We don't have men that may have a little more estrogen than others.
Yeah, they do. Some do.
But and then women have a lot more estrogen. Estrogen naturally makes us a lot more emotional, whereas when men are with testosterone, it makes you naturally want to be action based. So when you see little boys going through puberty, what are they doing? They jumping off bunk beds and flipping off walls and wrestling with each other. It's a natural thing. And so how can you not recognize that? Like, okay, so we're the girls, we over here playing patty cake and whatever little girl things, playing with each other's hair, or if we try to go play with the boys, we get hurt in it, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Whereas maybe it was just a natural thing that they noticed. I'm pretty sure they weren't calling it masculine and feminine.
See, but I'm saying, so there was this one group in Africa at one point in time who had African warrior women. Now the thing was they
Queen Zinga was one.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so was they masculine, or was that just something they had?
So here's the thing: masculinity and femininity aren't exclusive to one or the other. So this is why I say we all embody both traits. Because as a man, let's say you had children, right? And this was an example that I gave the other day. So submission is more of a more feminine thing, and so that's why they tend to associate submission with women, right? But in relationships, we're constantly submitting to each other, right? Even with our children. So let's say you work a construction job, right? So as a man, you go to work. Of course, you're going to be operating in your masculine all of the day because you need the strength. You need to get your job done, whatever, right? On your way home, you're not going to operate in that same energy you did at work that you are with your wife and your children. You know what I mean? So you take a shower, you woosah, and then, you know what I mean, you go into a state of submission when you dealing with your children. You might be tired, but hey, daddy, how do you... So I got to spend a little time with my children. I got to be a little more patient. I got to slow down a little bit. I got to bring my voice down, things like that. So it's a mixture of both. So it's not to say that.
Hey, but how could we, but listen, how could we say this though? Because we can see that by looking at now. I think sometimes we'll look at nows of what was going on in our today's society and think that that's how they was doing. If sometime back then, sometimes the motherfuckers come home and beat up everybody.
True. Well, it depends.
Shut your ass up. Bitch, you shut up.
Right now, too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, so is that even him, not even just saying that they come home being very domestic, but some people would just always have that personality, very strong, regardless of never probably being softened. Could men just be a little bit more softer now? And that's why we want to say that we can see that.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you have a balance of both, then you won't have an issue with, and that's too much masculinity, especially when it comes to like abusive relationships and things like that. Like you don't have to, for what? Like you over there strong arming people because they burnt your bacon. Like, come on, go. That's not something that. How am I trying to put this?
You don't think men probably been doing that for a while?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think Well, they call it domestic abuse now, but I'm saying that is not nothing new. Nothing that we see or experience right now is anything new. All of this stuff has been happening in different ways. Of course, things evolve over time, right? Because we used to talk on phones that you had to do rotary things. Now we have wireless phones that aren't connected to anything. So everything evolves over time.
Yeah.
They used to have strings in the little cups, and they used to talk like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, for me, I just have this. I don't know, it could be an issue. I'm just saying, I just have an issue with just hearing this masculine and feminine. Only time I think when I recognize it and when I see why we consider certain things, we're just in the sense of creation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I never seen
that's where it comes in. You got your XY chromosome.
Yeah, and what I mean is that, like, when you look at certain cultures, when it was sense of creation, it was always this male or this father figure, this mother figure that helped the bond to create more of creation. I never really seen it to where they play something to be this. It's hard for me to say right now. It's like I'm lost for words right now.
Take your time, Pastor.
Okay, it's almost like when I look at Egypt, right? You have Nut and Gib, right? Yeah. Which was the earth and the sky goddess. Yeah. And then with them, they had the creation, and they created, Horus and Osiris, and then they was able to create, which was not Horus and Osiris. Heru. But you had Aset and I can't remember all this shit right now. But you had Isis and Osiris, who created Horus, which is the Greek term, which I understand, and then, but I'm saying, when you see something in the stories of those, you always see creation, but I don't think you ever seen where they identify certain properties far as of you being a certain way.
They do, though. There's a lot of symbolism. So if you notice, if you look at a pharaoh's hat, how can you tell whether or not the pharaoh was a woman or a man?
Wait a minute.
Because there's a lot of symbolism that symbolizes femininity and masculinity.
Oh.
If you look at a pharaoh's hat, you can tell whether or not that pharaoh was a woman or a man. Do you know how? There's a serpent. If the pharaoh was a woman, then the serpent descends like the womb, right? If the pharaoh was a man, then you'll see the serpent rise for the phallus. So there's always different depictions of masculinity and femininity. It just changes in how it's classified over time.
Yeah, see, now that part I skipped, right? I just forgot. But there's not too many women who had the pharaoh. Who was a pharaoh? There's only a couple. How many?
Well, I don't know.
All I know was one. What was her name? It started with an N.
Nefertiti?
No, not Nefertiti's. Nefertiti, or whatever her name is. I forgot her name.
So then that's two so far.
Let me see. No, it wasn't.
Oh, you mean okay.
It's hard to say. Wait a minute. I'm looking up. Hold on. Hatshepsut. Her. It was just her.
It was who? Hatshepsut. It's on the computer.
Hatshepsut. I forgot how they pronounce it.
Oh, it was more?
Yeah,
way more.
It like it's,
oh yeah, they had Nefertiti's. Female rulers throughout the history.
the first one married.
Yeah. Okay, so you got. Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian. She was Greek. But I'm saying, okay, you got 5 out of how many?
Our recipes. No, I'm just playing.
Well, you got 5 out of how many? Fucking a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of fucking male pharaohs.
That's fine, because they probably didn't want all that hard labor. I ain't mad at them. Shoot, let me go cook. Look, I'm finna go feed the kids. You want to be pharaoh? You can go out there and go deal with the village people. I'm gonna go pick some.
They just got the top 10
greens and make us some soup or something.
Okay, but we talked about that. We gonna digress from all that. But we gonna get on some of these topics before, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh, child support.
Oh, child support. That was the first one.
Was that going to be the first one?
Yeah, the woman took her baby daddy off of child support and tried to give the baby daddy a job so
an opportunity to work. It's deeper than that. Why you explain it like
that? Nah.
What she mean?
Okay, so basically in the clip, the lady is explaining that she's taking her child's father off of child support, and she is trying to help provide him with resources so that he can find work and stuff like that. Because after a period of time, if it remains unpaid or whatever, I guess they'll take their license or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know how that stuff works. But I've noticed that's become a lot more common recently. A lot of women taking their kids' dads off of child support.
That's good. I feel like, what is the point of it if the man going to take care of the child?
Right. But what's that last part of that sentence?
Take care of the child.
If the man is going to take care of the child. So that's what I don't. So if you have a woman who still put her child's father on child support, and he is an active father, and he's doing for I feel like that's unnecessary. Because what more could you want than that? You get what I'm saying? Like, somebody drop you off at school. Like,
I'm looking at where sometimes some guys will they'll break up and then I'm putting you on child support.
Yeah, but a lot of women do that out of manipulation, control.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's not even that the fact of the if is that you're just gonna put me on here just to be in spite to try to fuck me up, instead of just saying, if you know I'm gonna take care of my kid, let's keep it cordial. We just be co-parenting with, and we just take care of the child. We don't need the course involved, but you got to do that. I feel like she probably did it after a while and said, you know what, I'm gonna take him off because she said, damn, he's struggling and this motherfucker ain't making no money, and I said, like, I'm tired of making you suffer. I'm gonna just take you off this shit.
I feel like because think about it, she said context to know, like, why did he even end up on there in the first place? You know what I mean?
Okay, but now to the point, let me take you off because he got to find a job.
Well, he couldn't find one. Wait a minute. How was Chelsea? Can we watch the clip again?
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out.
I think she wanted him to support the kid more.
I'm gonna link it back to the audio so it can play.
So what was it? He wasn't getting a job because she had him on child support, and he didn't want them to take his job.
So I decided to take my son's father off of child support because it was causing turmoil in our co-parenting relationship. Recently, I looked up a few places for him to get his CDL so that he could possibly start his own trucking company, or he can even carry loads and make money for himself. What I decided was, you know what, Brittany, let me change my mindset. Let me help him help us take care of our child. And that's co-parenting. So
why did she even put him on shit? But she said it's getting into their co-parenting relationship. So if he already co-parenting with him, why is that man on child support?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe her mama forced her to put him on. Girl, you need to put that nigga on child support.
See what I'm saying. So was him not finding a job was making the turmoil? So basically, she probably wasn't getting enough money.
Probably that, or who knows? She probably. So there's a few things, because a lot of men be thinking that women be just going down there to put them on child support. But there's another thing. If a woman goes and applies for government assistance, and a lot of times they be signing that paperwork and they don't read it. There's a section in there that clearly says if you're applying for this type of benefit, then the state will automatically do that on their own. She doesn't even have to. If you go and you apply for state benefits, there's a section in there that says the state will pursue, and that's why they ask them so many questions like, who is the child's father? Were you married? Did you sleep with anybody else within, the time you got pregnant? Whatever, because they'll go and they'll pursue that on their own. But see, by the time the men get the paperwork, it doesn't explain like, oh, hey, your child's mother came and applied for benefits and we're pursuing child support.
I got a quick question. Are you speaking in your masculinity right now? Because you're teaching me something.
Quite possibly.
Okay, keep going. Keep teaching.
And so it's not always that the mother just goes down there to put him on child support. Sometimes the mothers apply for government assistance and they have to. The state automatically does that. And so they don't, when by the time the dad gets the paperwork, it doesn't break it down like, oh, okay, this is how you got put on here. Just like, look, you on here. So,
you know my thing? Tell me if I'm fucked up. I just need to know if I'm fucked up or not. Mm-hmm. So I want to say it was this past week, I was out and I was driving and I was just seeing people just like living very, just Nevada. Nevada ain't that goddamn bad. It ain't Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And, I see certain people out and they broke and they need assistance. I mean, and I thought to myself, like, damn it, it's 2022. How the fuck are you? What was you doing? You feel me? Like sometimes I'm looking like, damn, what was you doing with yourself? Was you just not like,
huh? I said in this city, take your pick. It's a whole lot of things that could have took them down.
Meth?
Man, you got drugs, you got alcohol, you got gambling. We've all seen, born and raised out here, we've seen at least one person go through each of those things. Alcoholism, drugs, especially drugs. Look how many people we went to school with now, full out drug addicts.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck was you doing?
That's what I say. Every time I see somebody on drugs, they're like, you crack? How did you get
what was you doing?
Who gave you your first
be dealing with demons.
I be wanting to interview people like, bro, how did you go from art?
Somebody who just had, I think some people had bad choices, man. Bad choices, bad decisions and shit.
Trauma. Sometimes it be trauma too. I'm not gonna make it seem like they just out here doing drugs for fun. A lot of people trying to escape reality too.
Mm-hmm. I feel. Listen, I may be fucked up. But I feel about 85% of motherfuckers trying to escape reality. They just can't deal with shit.
I'm definitely one of them. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Not all the time, but I do definitely need my escape every once in a while.
I think a lot of people.
What is that?
It's not
from reality.
Yeah.
Man, you ever been in a house full of kids? not. So I'll go sit out in my car. So I'm usually at the house when I'm at the house with the kids, and now I work from home now. So I don't really leave the house unless we got to run errands or I'm taking the kids somewhere. And so sometimes I'll go sit in my car for like 2-3 hours.
But that's, I don't think your kid make you say, "Fuck, I can't deal with life right now. I need to just get high."
Well, not no hard drugs, absolutely not. Now a glass of wine might be.
Okay, so what do the kids do that make you say, man, I'm finna go sit in the car?
What don't they do? Oh, I keep forgetting you.
Yeah.
So it fluctuates, and I'm not gonna make it seem like it's always like that every single day. But so kids like validation and attention, and they want it all the time, which is okay. You understand? You human, we all want some type of attention. But I'm like, times 3, all day, every day, even with the teenagers. Like my 15-year-old, she kind of a hermit like me, so she's not as emotionally. I don't want to say needy because that comes off in a bad way, but she's not as emotionally attached as my younger two. But even still, like, she still wants attention and validation. So going through that process all day, and especially when I have a 6-year-old, she talks a lot. She likes to read to you, and, you kind of just got to entertain those ideas. But sometimes after you done did that all day long, plus you done worked, ran errands, sometimes I just want to go sit in my car and just relax for like an hour or two. Listen to some Jodeci or some,
But damn, that's the only thing that's escaping.
That is definitely an escape. It's a form of escape. It's not drugs or alcohol.
That's you time.
True, but it's an escape. You time is an escape. No.
Huh. So if you was meditating in your bedroom by yourself, is that escaping?
Yeah,
absolutely.
What? Y'all think so?
Hell yeah. Do you meditate?
No, meditating is clearing your
Okay,
mind.
so
it's not escapism. It's just clearing your
what
thoughts.
do you mean? So when we're in our everyday experiences, our minds are constantly going. What do you mean? That is meditation is the
yes. So all you doing is basically sharing out all the shit that you went through today.
It depends on what type of meditation, because they do have some meditations that are like thought awareness meditation, right? And I know that probably sounds weird. So it's basically going into a meditative state, but instead of like trying not to think about anything at all, it's sitting with your thoughts and seeing what type of thoughts are coming across your mind as you sit there.
What's the name of this meditation?
I don't know. I'm not a meditation guru.
reason.
I did this before. I forgot what the name of it was, but I did it with a group before, and it was more of like a mindfulness, like what type of things are you dealing with subconsciously, right? And those are things that we really don't think about because we're constantly having to be in our conscious state, right? Constantly doing things. And so when you go into the meditative state, instead of wanting to clear your mind, and a lot of times they'll have you count or do other things so that your mind is not racing, your mind is focused on, counting or whatever. They have you not do any of that and kind of just like acknowledge the thoughts that are coming across your mind as you sit there, right? And what those are, and sometimes afterwards they'll have you write it down. Where do you think those thoughts came from? What made you think about that? Et cetera, et cetera. So that was pretty interesting. That was a pretty interesting twist to meditation because I was used to the other way around. I was like, okay, that's an interesting way to put it. And I was very just looking at my list of stuff, like the things that I was thinking about. I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? Like, I don't know.
Oh, so this is why I question those things, right?
What, meditation?
No, just that part of meditation. Only because how you been on social media, right? We all been on social media. You know how you see them uncultured white folks who kind of like teach you how to hip hop dance. They was like, yeah, one
and put your
two,
hips in it,
yeah,
and bring it back.
Right now, would you learn how to dance from them? Nope. Right. So what I realized, especially in America,
you could, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, you're gonna be wrong. You ain't gonna do it right.
Some of me doesn't.
So what I'm saying is that it's in the same instance of that, where most times a lot of people have cultural appropriation. Where we'll take somebody else's culture, we'll try to teach somebody else, and we don't even give it the full truth about it, right? So when you look at East Indian culture, it's a lot of people who's not East Indian teaching their culture on how to do something. Sure. And that's not even the proper way how to do it. So when you're doing it incorrectly, so that's not something that they do in their cultural system. You seen it, you mock it, you want to change it up to your own liking. Oh, this is how we're going to do it. And that's not even what they do or how they do it. That's not even the origins of why they do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when you look at the origins, most times they say, hey, we do it just to clear your thoughts. And this is why you breathe. There's different systems. It's like when we look at yoga, like the white folks, the way they took yoga, they was like making it to this whole, you sweat it out, doing all this shit. And that wasn't really yoga. So yoga was just another breathing form of moving to just breathe. You know what I'm saying? So it's different.
It's a combination of breathing and it's the flexing and reflexing of certain muscles to bring the body to a certain state. I don't know how to explain it.
But that wasn't. But that's what I'm saying. That wasn't the origins of reason. Yeah, What I realized, I remember because I started realizing, especially by the 1960s, you had that whole hippie revolution shit. These young kids were looking for enlightenment. And so half these people was either encountering East Indians, or a lot of them at that time was going to India and learning from what these people was doing and trying to bring it back and mimic what they got taught in India. Sometimes and then try to make a profit of it.
You also have people that come here from India and they teach those practices.
And some of the motherfuckers is like pastors. For real. Some of them fucking gurus or yogis. Some of them motherfuckers be connivers who's trying to profit because they're trying to sell some shit to people who looking for something. That's what I'm saying. They're like preachers. They'll do. Some of them are foul just like that. We be thinking because they come here, they teach that shit. Some of them people be trying to make a profit because they know somebody want this shit.
Facts. So they do the same thing in spirituality that they do in religion, because you got a lot of tarot readers that are like that, or mediums, stuff like that.
And even when I looked at that shit at one point in time in history was just a card game.
Tarots?
Yeah, it was just a card game. And then it's like, where's all this foreseeing shit of, I'm going to predict your future by giving you this shit. And it's where I feel that people start preying on people knowing I can make a profit off something. And that's the 10% of people who do some devilish fucked up shit. And I feel that that's why people have to be a little bit more wise on the things that they get into, because you could be misled in the wrong information and around the wrong path with somebody teaching you some shit because you're just looking to feel better about yourself. And I think sometimes we be so emotionally, mentally fucked up. We're trying to find something that kind of brings us some type of peace. And sometimes we don't even realize how wrong it is, because sometimes most people don't even like to go into origins. And I feel reason why.
Go into what?
The origins of certain things. Okay. And reason why I feel like, because most people who they don't care for history. Like me, I care for history, so the more I look into something, the more I'm looking more back into the origins of it.
That's why I'm trying to figure out, like, what you got against meditation.
To me, it's another cultural thing.
What culture?
India.
You think meditation originated in India?
Certain parts of it. You don't think so?
I do not believe so.
Why?
I have. Hold on. Let me see if I still have that. Because I did a report a while back. I don't even think I have it on here.
Where do you think other parts they originate from?
Everything originated in Kemet. Meditation too.
You could be right, but I'm
gonna show you though, because I don't want to just.
I can't stand Kemet though.
Why?
Because you know
why?
Call
it Al-Qaeda?
No. You know, this is why. It's not that I can't stand it. I love it and I appreciate it, but I dislike how we just connected just to that. And okay, so right, mind you
said just to that.
Yeah, right, because that's the only almost known history that is still well researched, because that's what people our counterpart white folks are into, right? So
put it why it's so well researched?
Why?
Because it's the history that's suppressed the most, suppressed and controlled the most. The Vatican has miles of history that is directly linked to us.
Right. I'm not knocking that.
Tell Black American children the indoctrination of a lot of the insecurities that we have as both Black women and Black men comes directly from the systems that we've been accustomed to here, but that's because they didn't really teach us about ourselves. You know what I mean?
So, okay, true, right? So
they taught us we were slaves. They didn't teach us about man.
So I'm gonna say, like, for us, right? Our descendants directly from West Africa. Our genetic lineage does not lead to Kemet. Our shit is just, we spend probably maybe 70,000 or more years in West Africa, probably.
But Kemet was the whole entire continent at one time.
But in that code, mind you, right? From my perspective, is that all in East Africa and that area was called Kemet, because that was a place that was called Black Land. That was what the people along that Nile River kind of knew of. But what made me think is that it ignores about 95% of other African nations that most likely exist.
Absolutely.
And not even care for it. Our only reason
that is a part of indoctrination too. Like, they always Egypt. You know what I mean? They never talk about the West.
And that's what I'm saying. Reason why I think the Vatican wanted that is because they can say that they almost have a role in that. Europeans,
everything. So that's actually a pertinent part of the things that we practice here in America comes directly from there. So you have teachers like, I'm trying to think who's that. I'm having a brain fart, but the Greek philosophers, Aristotle. How am I losing their names right now?
It happens.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. But a lot of those Greek philosophers, they got a lot of their information, and it wasn't popular or acceptable for them to even teach a lot of the spiritual systems they were teaching back then. So if you think of the Hermetic principles, it's what's the name of the? Trying to think. So you got Hermes Trismegistus. I can't even. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But anyway, you had the Greek philosophers that got their information directly from Kemet, Babylon, however you want to call it, before the ruling of Babylon. And so they taught these systems, and there were people that went around practicing their own versions of it for a very long time and this was before Constantine. So the Council of Nicaea, when they came together and they like, okay, we need to establish one system that everybody can practice, because at this time everybody was running around with their own ideologies and belief systems. But a lot of that stuff, a lot of the information, the stuff that they pulled from came directly from Kemet. So there's nothing that we're practicing right now.
So let me ask you: you don't think that the indigenous people in India came up with what they came up with? You think?
Absolutely. I'm saying every group of people have their own thing, but I'm saying there are still things that originated with us that we feel came from other cultures, like meditation. We were absolutely meditate in some form. We may not have called it meditation, or.
But I'm saying, so the way they did it, sitting down, the way they meditate, that system. Do you feel like that was originated in Africa, or was that type of shit was originated in India?
I feel like that was originated in Africa as well. But
can we prove that?
Rituals. So if
I feel like this is my thing, right? So because I love history, right? Now, I think what happened is in our time of, when Europeans conquering the world and making people thinking that they're different from another, we tend to forget that just because culture, let's just say if we was to take out saying this continent from here, this is Africa, this is India, and let's just say we had to deal with tribe, right?
Okay.
If we had took out all the lines that define what a continent is, everybody would just be black as shit.
True.
Right? So we wouldn't define who was in Kemet, who was in Middle East, or who was in India.
Well, black and white is an American thing anyway.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. So culturally, we just only dealing with culture. So I think what I'm saying, when we look at a certain system, that culture, what was practiced in India, you don't find that same system and culture the way they practice meditation in India.
Maybe not the same
I mean
way.
Africa. But whose system are we practicing though? Whose system are we practicing more the African, or are we practicing more of the East Indian?
Gotcha. So, okay, I get what you're saying. So you're saying that even if each culture has their own form of doing things, right now in today's time, which of those are you choosing from? Are you fully educated on how that works, and are you understanding what you're doing, or are you just doing something that was brought onto you? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So, because it's like I said before, even if we was to go back to, say, like Kemet, the history of, mind you, we're 300,000 years old. Mm-hmm. Genetically 200. Do you get that? Do y'all get that?
Yes.
What you get about it? If we're 300,000 years old, but then we're genetically 200. Do you understand it?
Wait, you said 3,000?
We're anatomically, we're 300,000 years old. Genetically, we're 200. Do y'all get it?
What are you trying to say?
So what happened is, anatomically, is that they found out fossil-wise, we date back 300,000. But genetics change constantly. But to show our lineage of the human beings on this planet Earth, that genetic lineage only leads back to 200,000 years ago. So that means, how many kids you got?
3.
Let's just say your first two oldest die. But your youngest, his genes, though they have the same parents, their genetic makeup is just a little different. So that means her youngest who survives is carrying on the rest of the world. That's what it was like. So genetically, the other people who was around end up dying off, but that lineage that stayed in Africa, who's able to populate the whole world, basically, had a genetic lineage 200,000 years ago.
Do you truly believe that there were not people in other parts of the world?
Not at that time.
How far back are we talking? 200,000.
Mm-hmm. What you think they came somewhere else, or they were just originally there?
If you say that, how did they get here in the first place?
Migration. It took a while.
No, I'm talking about from the beginning. How did it start? Because religious people give you the Adam and Eve story. What do you believe was the story?
Adam and Eve. But the Adam and Eve story, I think people don't understand that that's a creation of a culture.
Absolutely.
Because they say, may not him eat from the tree to
Yaakov?
Yeah, I heard of Yaakov.
Okay. So that's yeah.
But I'm just saying, but in there, in the Genesis, he tells Jesus, and he took not Jesus, but he tells him, he said that Adam and Eve now ate from the tree of knowledge and know good and evil like us. He said like us. He's not saying like me. He said like us. So that means there's other type of gods.
Who said that?
In the Bible's in Genesis.
Okay.
It's like, said God said, he said no, they know good and evil like us.
That was said in Genesis.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember the us part. You see me over here, I'm like, I haven't been in church in a minute.
Tell me what the title. So I can show up on
because I think it was by chapter.
I
think it's chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2.
It had to be chapter? Maybe chapter 3, because I think chapter 2 is when they in the garden, right?
Yeah, when they was in the garden, and
after they ate the.
Let me see.
Let me just type down. Adam tells.
No, God tells.
God tells. Who's God talking to? Adam?
I guess he's talking to the rest of them. He ain't talking to Adam.
Wait, what you mean?
Because he said now that they eat from the tree of life and know good and evil like us, made them not eat from the tree of no, he said now that man eat from the tree of knowledge, made them not now they know good and evil like us, but let them not eat from the tree of life and live forever. So
out of the ground and the Lord God spread up every tree that is pleasant to.
See right there, the third one. See 3:22.
And the Lord said, behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life.
They may not live forever. He say like us. Because theologians know it was multiple gods.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing about it is that even when you look at when he gets to Abraham and Cain and Abel, they come into a land that's already people there. And he tell them not to harm them. So that's the case. He's talking about this is a group of my people. So they showing the creation of their people, which was the Jews or the Hebrews.
Sometimes you do got to read the whole chapter too, though.
Yeah, you do. I did.
Yeah. So I sure missed that us.
Yeah.
You said us. When I first read that, I said, what they mean by us? It ain't me. Cause they ain't just saying one. But you know what I'm saying. So what I'm saying when you looking at how people migrated throughout the world, you looking at when people, you got to understand. So even when you're looking at Kemet, you talking about people who migrated up the Nile. So what happened to the people who stayed along that Nile, along the Tanzanese and Uganda River, right? Because mind you, that's the river they traveled up from going into Egypt. So we're gonna think that the people who, mind you, they found some of the oldest fossils around that area. So you telling me there wasn't no older culture or civilization that probably developed before Kemet that been living there before they even migrated up?
Before the Nile Valley civilization?
Yeah, so mind you, Nile Valley, it goes up from the river from Tanzania and Uganda.
But wasn't the Nile Valley civilization like the first?
That's what they say. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying you think that there were civilizations prior to Nile Valley.
Mind you, have Napita Playa, right? That's another code. I think reason why is because what we found, some of those are not either seem to have influenced by Europeans or they didn't have so much artifacts to go off that didn't survive time. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at
didn't exist.
Yeah, so we can say it didn't exist because
I'm still waiting on Noah's boat.
Yeah,
pop up. Everything else is popping up, but Noah's boat.
So I'm saying I don't think they had enough evidence to show that this was an older culture, except in the Peter Platter. And I don't even think they decided to even go look in other places around Africa to even figure out if there even were even older cultures. Because, mind you, for a long time, anthropologists didn't even care to look in Africa to see who was the oldest fossils.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the time they were just going in just Europe and Asia and just like, oh, we found it too. Somebody found some of the oldest fossils in Africa. They was like, oh shit, they really might be the oldest. So you telling me in that whole area from Ethiopia to Tanzania to Uganda, some of the oldest people in that area, right? Who some of the first people who've been around for the longest. So you telling me that the people who did stay there and did migrate up the Nile, they go towards Egypt. And mind you, along the Nile is a whole bunch of city-states.
True.
So that means, because Egypt or Kemet did nothing, really didn't become that until they unified.
True.
So before they unified, you telling me there wasn't no other civilizations that really developed before you want to consider a unified country? So that's almost saying, you look at it in the sense of, that's like saying there was no indigenous culture here in the Americas before Europeans came.
Right.
Makes no sense. So then why are we only looking at them? And then to me, again, not to cut you off, why are we not paying attention for us to look at more shit about West Africa? Because we're taught more to look at, since that's the oldest. And I think, I suffer from it when I first started reading and learning about is that you start thinking reason why we want to attach to that, because that seemed like that was the oldest, most civilized, smartest people that came about first. Because, you read about this, you always hear about how Europeans did shit first. And then you have this complex like, damn, like, did we do anything? And then when you see that it was us first, you're like, that was us. I knew it was us. And then you want to have this pride to say, we was the first. Everybody wanted, and that's the thing, the race anthropology and everything else, because you want to say, I was the first one. And I feel like that's why we want to connect our culture, which is not directly our culture, to them. Because if we was at the
Egypt
in Egypt. So because we at the one time 400-500 years ago, we gonna be in West Africa doing some other shit. We ain't gonna be in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Even if we take 1,000 years, we probably still gonna be in West Africa.
Yeah.
So is that why we're not connecting ourselves mostly to, or even trying to have more anthropologists or historians that look more towards in other parts of Africa?
And they know about this. Some of them places they not going there too. They know about. So okay. So here's the thing. They are. This is one thing that I've learned about meeting Africans or people of African descent here in America. They're just like us, like literally. So I don't foresee like a lot of them people just allowing anthropologists to just come through and start digging in certain parts. Well, no, but they don't have interest in it because they, at least for on the larger scale, they don't have interest in it because they've invested so much into Egypt. You know what I mean? And the beauty behind Egypt, and everybody's attracted to Egypt. But there are civilizations all over Kemet. Well, when I say Kemet, I mean the whole continent. So west, east, south, northern. And there were civilizations all over there. So when you say we, who is we? Because some people do connect with that part of Western Africa, but I mean, they have practices that may not be.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Popular
I'm
here.
gonna tell you this. I don't know not too many black folks in Americas. Maybe in Dominican Republic and in Haiti and the rest of them. We don't practice nothing. Those some type of voodoo.
I didn't originally. That changed for me within the last 3 years. 3 years, because I used to say the same thing, and I was very shocked. So I was like, y'all been here the whole time? Like, you know what I mean? But just, I don't know, like, these are people, they homeschooled their children, so their children weren't in public school. And if you notice, like, culturally for a lot of Africans, they didn't write things down. That was more of a European thing. And so we always did symbolism or word of mouth. And so we had an oral tradition, which actually saved us in some ways, right? Because there's a lot of information. I'm pretty sure some of it probably got tainted along the way, but there's a lot of information that they were able to bring from back in those times to now because we didn't write things down. But it also allowed someone else to come in and create a narrative behind the way that they interpreted our symbolism too.
So let me ask you: you don't think that certain people around different cultures probably wrote things down, but just didn't get either basically even got burnt down or destroyed? What if that could have happened?
Absolutely. So,
because Timbuktu got a lot of
seeing the way that culture vulturing is so pertinent now. Pretty sure it was not any different back then. So they probably was like, man, put the such them coming over here. No, don't write it down. Just look. I'm gonna put 2 circles and a triangle, and that's gonna mean meet me on the corner. So they can't find it. You know what I mean? Like just finding intricate ways to survive, because you always, you know what I mean? There's invasions. You never know when an invasion is gonna come. How you gonna pass down that information to your children? How you gonna tell a certain story? And so a lot of things were symbolism for us. It wasn't really writing words. Mm-hmm. So that's where you get the meta narrative from.
I agree. But I think I'm saying, as I was saying before, I just saying that what I've learned, and some people, most black people might be like, you tripping. Mm-hmm. But what I'm looking at I'm looking at the original people all across the globe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, because it took a while, because that's what I'm saying. If you go back culturally,
everywhere.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, like,
even
for
here,
me, I stopped looking at just Africa a long time ago.
Okay.
And because I think the more you look at the DNA and the history of the migration of human beings, you start realizing that, okay, they all was the same people for a long period of time. And you'll see the genetic looks and how the commonality that we have with each other.
The only thing that changes that is it's called oculocutaneous albinism. And it's these different on a genetic level, there's these different classifications of albinism, but albinos. And so the one that we most common know are the ones with the blonde hair. They got the blonde body hair. They can't, sometimes they can be out in the sun, stuff like that. They have different classifications of albinism, and a lot of people don't know that. Mm-hmm. And so you have lighter skin with brown hair. You got lighter skin with red hair. You have lighter skin with brunette hair. Mm-hmm. But those are all classifications of albinism, but it's all the same people. So we are technically all the same people, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you ever heard anything about the Eve gene. No?
No.
Just put it like this. They're called, I don't want to make it sound horrible, but you have genetic mutations.
But that happens with everybody. This is how
we can have a child right now and it come out completely albino. Blonde hair, blonde eyebrows, look just like us, sound just like us, but because you have you have more albinos that have more I hate saying black and white because I hate those terms, but you have albinos that have more European traits, either the way that they talk, the texture of their hair, etc. And then you have albinos that have afros, blonde afros.
So my
and nappy chest hair.
So look. So my thing is that a mutation will occur almost every generation. In every genetic.
Every time a woman conceives, there's some type of genetic mutation.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I'm saying. So it constantly happened. But going back to what I'm saying is that when you look at everybody from leaving out of Africa, as soon as they left the Middle East, they still look the same. And as soon as they got to India, they damn near looked the same. Even further, it took over generation and basically
talking about the phenotype, their phenotype?
Yeah, and selective breeding. And what happened earlier, humans' hair texture always ranged from different textures. What happened is when we look at ours, we think since all was West Africa, that majority of people had this real kinky hair, and that wasn't the case. Right. Most people had a wide range between kinky, curly, straight.
Just like now.
Yeah,
4C, 4B, 4. I mean, we're just now learning all those classifications.
So I think what happened was that genetic group that will carry that lineage. Honestly, I feel that majority or even earlier humans hair fucking was damn near, I want to say curly, kinky, curly, straight. Because when you look at us, our hair is mostly coarse, right? Do you look at majority of everybody's hair is straight, right? When you even look at India, they be dark as this, but their hair be straight. You know what I'm saying? And you look at Aborigines in Australia, dark as this, but hair be curly straight. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of tells you in the sense that earlier humans probably had a different texture of hair. And it wasn't just the way our shit is now. That shit came thousands of years later throughout selective breeding in a different culture and environment.
So you don't think Naps was around back in those times? Look at some of those pyramids and some of those images, and you see all those rounds. But what do you think those were?
Money, but key money. But that's what I'm saying. You talking about 6,000 years, right? I'm not. That's different from 50 to 30 to 80,000 years ago.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that you can imagine how different we look from our ancestors just 200 years ago, or even just 100.
Do we really look different from?
We ain't as black as them.
But we're not in environments that are.
But we just have mixtures.
Listen, if you go sit out, we live in Vegas. If you be outside long enough during the daytime, your ass gonna by July.
Key money.
You gonna be looking like you from Nigeria. Don't play with me.
Listen, we don't.
We used to play in the sun.
We did, but we don't look directly how we did from our ancestors who got on that ship and came straight here.
I got an uncle named Quincy, and he looked like he would have been on one of them ships.
Okay,
do you hear me?
We got different clothes and different types.
That's
of
it.
No, listen.
That's it.
Do we share the same? Do we got some of the lips? Yeah. You got some of the nose? Yeah. But if you was a
I'm talking about his skin. He was blurple.
Listen,
You hear me? Like,
you not blurple.
I mean, wait till the summertime though, because I'm coming from out of.
Listen.
Catch me in July.
Listen. He got a tan line.
Catch me in July.
If this was in Africa, he don't have a tan line. You know what I'm saying? If this was 400 years ago, if you look at all Africans who was jet black, they is not our skin tone. We are lighter than them. You get what I'm saying?
But you got to think they're
because if you
they're closer to the equator.
No, but even if you
they're closer to the equator, which means they're exposed to the sun a lot more than we are. So naturally, they're going to be a lot darker. That's why a lot of people say it wasn't no.
I find that still to be false. You know why? Because I know some Africans that's about my color, and they from West Africa.
Okay, do you know some light skinned Africans in it?
Yeah, I seen some. I don't think it's just the equator.
I don't want to make
it. Check this out. You still have some Ethiopians who's about our color.
That's true. I see some darker. It's some darker than us too. So I guess
you know what I'm saying. Now think about it, right? Australia is under the equator. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. And they dark as shit.
Let's put this on the record. I say this a few times a year. I never want to go to Australia.
Why?
Man, you ever seen them bugs out there?
There are bugs everywhere.
Listen, have you seen how big their bugs are?
They got bats
and
they
they walk out their front yard and they have spider webs like covering their whole. Man,
yeah, you don't
want
okay, you probably right. Listen,
somebody wanted to torture me, they would just blindfold me, knock me out, and then take me to Australia and just drop me off anywhere. For real, like that would be the ultimate torture to me. I do not want to go there.
Okay, so look, this is what I'm trying to get at is that when I
bats and shit. I don't want to say.
So this is what I'm trying to get at. So when I looked at the whole history of humans, as I said, all three of your children was to migrate to different places around the world. They're still your children. Mm-hmm. So even though they left Africa, they went to Asia, they went to Middle East and all these places that we want to say. These people still stayed like that for a long period of time. Through over time being separated for so long, for over 1,000 years. You talking about some people feel that they had left over 100,000 years ago. Some say 80. So you talking about being separated from each other for over 1,000 years. By the time black people got to Europe, that was about 45,000 years ago, right? So even then, genetically shows that it wasn't until...
You're talking about the Moors, right?
No, we talking about when people migrated into all parts of the world.
The Moors, right?
But that was 7-11 when they happened, when they went to Europe. We talking about earlier, way before civilization. We talking about
45,000 years ago. You said?
Yeah, we talking about when. Look up. Just type this in. When humans migrated to Europe. You don't think they migrated to Europe?
We got to go through the oppressor's resources in order to find that information, and they still over there burning our libraries. But let's see what we can
look, about 45,000 years ago.
They built this whole database.
Because in DNA, that's how when you catch DNA, that's how we seeing what happened, right? You don't believe in DNA?
Yes, absolutely.
40,000 years ago.
By the time they got to Europe. Right? But what happened is, this is what I dislike. So when I watch TV and they show people, early human going to Europe, they should always show them to be white.
Right.
And that wasn't true. These people still was dark as shit. And people didn't become lighter. Now, type this in. When did people in Europe become lighter? This shit didn't happen until about 8,000 years ago. So I mean, we stayed dark for about 30 some odd years.
They probably ain't gonna tell you, but
Right.
Yeah, 40,000 years. I guess it's look like that.
No. So European gene, a light skin right there, evolved on the bottom. Life signs below that.
What, this one?
Yeah.
I was gonna do it probably that same sense.
So that means when you find all them artifacts in Europe, people like us, right? So we take away, when we start looking at Egypt, we take away the other things that our people who migrate across the world did. And so we just lose the connection between other original people who did other great things, because we only want to stick to saying this is Africa.
True.
Understand this is us, but just because they left, that doesn't mean they didn't look like us when they left.
Civilizations all over the world.
Yeah. So we
contribute to civilizations all over.
yeah,
the world.
and we
Especially
lose connection with each other. That okay, since you in Australia or you in Asia, because we think that as soon as they got to these places, they look like what we see now, and they didn't. Because when you look at the sand people, you mind you in South the bush people, chinky eyes, high cheekbones. These are the people who look like people in Mongolia, Asia, all these other Asian countries, because they carry that gene. So we think that when we look at people now, we think people back then look how they look now, and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So we'll lose that connection of original people doing all these things around the world, because we just stick to saying Kemet, and people left out of Kemet. You know what I'm saying? And when they left out of Africa, they look like they were when they left.
Sure.
So you know what I'm saying? So for me, I start looking at the whole world instead of just this one place, because it's almost, you say you want to just look at one country in Africa instead of looking at all the places in Africa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at not just Africa, but then the whole world, because then we'll forget that. What about Easter Island? What they look like? What happened to the earlier people who came in Americas?
I don't want to see the Australians. Or their bugs.
They good peoples, man. They black as shit.
I'll go anywhere else. Don't take me to Australia. Don't.
I think the whole world is beautiful.
It is. I love watching Australia.
So I'm saying, you don't think in South America bugs might be worse than theirs?
Quite possibly.
No, I think bugs is crazy everywhere, bro.
Man,
They got some crazy.
got
Australia got
alien
bugs
bugs
and
in Australia.
crazy.
Exactly.
So do Africa.
Listen, they got some extraterrestrial shit going on.
So do Africa.
in
Y'all didn't see some of the animals that come from Africa?
I'd feel more comfortable there.
Yeah.
I'd be.
What animal that y'all seen that is crazy?
I'm telling you, like the damn bat look like a flying pit bull. The motherfucker.
Man, y'all don't see.
Good.
Y'all never seen the craziest animals in Africa?
When we leave here today, I need you to go research.
Y'all didn't see all them crazy animals in Africa.
I mean,
there's some wild looking crazy animals. Listen, they show you the nice, beautiful ones they want to record and take pictures of, but they don't show you the one that look crazy and wild as fuck out there. It's a lot. Man, y'all be surprised. You like that shit out there in Africa? No. There's some crazy shit all across the world. I'm trying to tell y'all.
They don't look that bad to me.
Man,
they got bamboos. I'm scared of bamboos.
Yeah, them bamboos is something else.
They got this. I think this like the craziest one in Africa to me. Oh shit!
What is that?
Big ass bird. They say it's like the most prehistoric bird.
Oh hell no.
That's in Africa.
But they say they love, but they're very peaceful towards humans.
Yeah, they eat other animals though. But they got some more. What's some other ones?
I'm telling you, dog.
They got a lot.
Australian gangsters. Now go to Australian spiders.
Yeah, I don't even look at that shit.
You go to African spider, I guarantee spiders crazy everywhere. Man. Look, we don't got pythons, the anaconda.
I want to get over. I don't know if I'll be able to overcome that one though.
What? Bugs?
Spiders.
I hate spiders. I'm scared.
I have the biggest fear, but I used to be the same way, like terrified of cats. But I'm not scared of cats anymore.
But spiders everywhere though.
So are cats, but I was terrified of them. Not anymore, because I went through.
Yeah, Australia still got worse animals than Africa, dog.
Oh my!
Y'all think so?
Are those
Fuck,
spiders
yeah, I'm
in
telling you, you
Africa?
haven't seen it, bro. God damn, I'm about to show you a bat that.
So you see those, but those are still like bug size. They got Australia has my size spiders.
Yeah.
Like they'll come in and be your friend.
How big this motherfucker is?
Hey, where we at on the time right now on the board?
Hour and 30 minutes.
All right, we're gonna do one more. Damn, look at that big ass shit.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just big. That's it.
He big enough to be your cousin. I'm good. There will be no Australia for me.
But that's what I'm saying. Do y'all really think that big ass bats don't even harm you like that?
Boy, you crazy.
How you know?
Boy,
Bats,
crazy.
Bats don't fuck with humans like that.
Okay, go get your ass in the cave and see what they gonna do.
I wouldn't trip. I wouldn't trip.
Yeah,
I'll hold
right.
it. Nigga, I'm dead honest. I'll hold that.
So if you went in the cave,
I will hold that.
You just gonna stand there?
It's like having a big ass.
Okay, Batman.
Listen, it's like having a big ass hairless parrot on your arm.
Boy, you crazy.
I was about to pass out in here.
Look,
Boy, you crazy.
it's just a bat.
Disgusting.
They gonna fuck you up.
They look
gonna
so-
bite
So let me ask you, would y'all hold a regular bat?
No, I'm not holding.
No, they bite.
They don't bite like that.
Dog, look at this motherfucker. Motherfucker.
How do you know? When was the last time you held a bat?
I ain't never held the bat,
Exactly.
but I didn't seen people who held bats.
That's why they probably train them motherfuckers. But look at this motherfucker, man.
They gonna have teeth. They eat bugs.
If he trying to protect himself, he gonna bite, bro.
Exactly, and you would be considered an intruder.
Yeah.
Listen, dogs got teeth. They don't really bite us like that.
You said what?
Dogs
Depending
got
on whose
teeth.
house you go over.
But I'm saying they your pet, they not
Walk in the
gonna
wrong house and see
listen.
if they won't bite.
But I'm saying, but if they're your pet, they don't bite.
Listen, my dog, I just got our dog Coco. Coco used to bite everybody.
Yeah, but do she bite you like that?
Yes, us too.
shit,
I don't know.
Well, you didn't train them good enough.
Very bipolar.
Yeah, when you train the dog, he ain't
Well, I'm
gonna
saying,
She was trained, but she had her moment. She was going senile or something.
Put do bats.
You like grab her and put her in her cage. and
Put
she
do
snap
bats
at her.
attack people? I doubt bats attack people like that. I don't think they attack people.
Oh, it said bats do not attack people.
Wait,
They do-
They are probably swooping towards insects and fruit.
Yeah, they don't harm nobody.
No, I don't trust that, man. I feel like
So they're
still bite you.
vegans?
Yeah, they vegan.
Bats are
They're
vegans.
plant based. They eat plant based
That's
shit.
what I learned on Intellectually Foolish. Bats are vegan.
Yeah.
They're entirely.
They love fruits.
I could have sworn I seen a video.
Nah, they don't.
Bit the shit out of.
He might because he probably grabbed the wrong and shit.
You
Probably
seen
grab
another
the
movie
wrong.
or something.
I ain't trusting it, man. They bite, man.
That's what I'm saying. Bats is
Yeah,
not
in my
that
mind, they
bad.
do. Cats too.
Now listen. Now you used to tell me like go pet a
Some lions
lion.
don't
I'm
bite.
not doing it. Well, they don't. Well, lions?
Yeah.
I'm not touching a
But
lion.
you have. There are people. They walk right alongside the lions in Africa.
No, they don't.
I think it was an African tribe that get
Some
along
of them,
with
yes, they
I seen that
do.
documentary.
No, hey,
In
no,
some-
they
in some
warn them
civilizations,
off.
They are
They warn
at
them.
peace with their animals.
No, you can't. How you gonna be at peace with a wild animal?
I don't know. They probably know how to do
I'm not
some
saying at
crazy
peace like they kicking it. Like, yeah, go get the lions and bring them in
Look,
here so we can eat.
they
But
not.
I'm saying, like they walking past them. Like, okay.
Listen, it's either a couple of things. Either that lion ate already, or them motherfuckers just trying to warn them off. So the lion like we ain't fucking with them. Cool, they go their way.
But a lot of animals don't
that's,
eat.
That's what I'm saying.
Lions would eat
but
you.
if they're around each other.
But the number one killers is
historically
hippos.
Yeah.
What?
No, number one killers in Africa is hippos.
Yeah, they're the most dangerous animal on the planet.
Yeah.
What?
You didn't know that?
Yeah, they're the most dangerous.
They'll fuck you
I thought
up.
they were just fat.
Nah, they'll. They the most-
Now I gotta be
Look.
scared of hippos.
Hippos will kill your
Now you
ass.
gonna have me, and I'm a geek, so I'm really gonna be like at home, like, why are hippos dangerous? I mean, binge watching hippo documentaries for the next 2 days.
Put in Africa. Yeah.
Like, what do they do?
They just attack people.
They put the hippo.
See?
Snake. Black mamba. The African buffalo.
That sounds dangerous.
Most top 10 dangerous. Look, lion ain't even really up there, top 5.
Right, and you scared to my
Cause they'll bite your throat out. Them motherfuckers will bite your throat out.
Mosquito.
Oh,
I think
shit.
they Put that on there.
When they came, malaria or whatever?
Yeah, malaria.
1 million deaths per year.
Damn.
Yikes.
Ooh, 1 million? Can you imagine you just died like that? How you die? A mosquito?
They killed more people than the Rona.
For real.
Number 2.
Rona didn't even kill that many people
per year. I think they
look
bite
at that
the
shit.
out your ass.
Damn, look at that.
3,000 deaths per year.
That's
I would
crazy.
have thought like bears or something.
We don't got bears out there.
The elephant.
I wouldn't doubt it.
500 deaths per
I
year.
thought elephants were peaceful.
I thought so too.
No, when you get in their territory, they're very territorial.
Oh, okay. Or near their babies,
crocodile.
maybe.
300
I
deaths
believe that.
per year.
That's a fucked up
That's
way
in
to die.
Africa.
Yeah.
See, I probably wouldn't.
Oh, lion top 5. Shit.
250 deaths per year.
Damn.
They got alligators and crocodiles out here. And I don't even want to be a part of them.
Where? You see it out here at?
In the United States?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Vegas. I was like, where the fuck they at?
at? I saw some sheep.
You know what I'm talking
Mountain
about?
lions, I guess. Are they sheep? There's there's a park out in Boulder City that I went to, and there's like literally not little,
Like
there's little
rams?
rams. There you go.
Oh,
Running
yeah, we got
all
red.
over the place, and it's like people and rams all over the place. I have videos.
This is
of it
North
too.
Nevada, right?
In Boulder City.
Oh, Boulder City?
Yes, it was beautiful, and like you can see, there's like a path where you can walk, and you can see the water. Then you can see them coming down from out of the mountains. Yep, people in
I need to go there.
houses out there.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
I think it's
dope.
called Hemingway Park or something like that.
Dang, Cape Buffalo. I seen recently that motherfucker flipped a female lion.
What?
Yeah, online. That motherfucker flipped. It was taking his buddy and shit. That motherfucker came out of nowhere and flipped that line. Boop. I said, oh shit. Man, that little motherfucker doing backflip. Well, we gonna get to one more shit.
One more
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine.
That's right.
Ukraine.
Zelensky talking about
America's
I'm ready for
War III.
negotiations with him. I was ready over the last 2 years. And I think that without negotiations we cannot end this war. I think that all the people who
Homie got that cricket.
That was it.
Oh, that was it?
That was it.
I thought it was longer than that.
It was definitely longer.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my fault.
Like,
Damn,
I got
my
it.
fault. Hold up, my fault.
who think that this dialogue is shallow and that it is not going to resolve anything. They just don't understand that this is very valuable. If there is just 1% chance for us to stop this war, I think that we need to take this chance. We need to do that. I can tell you about the result of these negotiations. In any case, we're losing people on a daily basis, innocent people on the ground. Russian forces have come to exterminate us, to kill us, and we have demonstrated the dignity of our people and our army. That we are able to deal a powerful blow. We are able to strike back. But unfortunately, our dignity is not going to preserve the lives. So I think that we have to use any format, any chance in order to have a possibility of negotiating, possibility of talking to Putin. But if these attempts fail, that would mean that this is a...
So World War III.
It is not.
You don't think so?
No, absolutely not. It's election time, so we are not. How am I trying to? How do you feel about the whole Ukraine thing? Do you genuinely believe that can turn into World War III?
I think so.
I don't know. It could be. It's a possibility. I look at
Did
anything
we say
being
that with
possible.
Syria? Didn't we say that with Afghanistan?
No,
But I think it's just on.
because we just said. I think at those times it was just
Say
they
that
had
with Iran.
no. They understood they had nuclear weapons, but it was more of they was a terrorist group, that was harming the freedom of America or any place else. I don't think they was like saying hey, this is definitely could be a World War III. You know, I mind you, when they went to Iraq, it was like Bush was like, they ain't got weapons of mass destruction, and that was it. And so they shot over there and did what they need to do.
Or that was the cover up.
Yeah, that was the cover up.
Believe they went over there for. So now that we know that, do we genuinely believe that this has anything to do with Russia and Ukraine getting into it with each other, or is this a way to keep the public's mind occupied so that we don't realize that the whole COVID shit was a setup from the beginning?
I was saying that earlier. Could be.
Are they talking about COVID still?
No, not really.
No. Have y'all seen? I mean, I started watching the news a while ago.
I'm saying, why would?
Do you know how many people, how much the whole COVID stuff impacted our community? I mean, the whole community, the whole United States, our economy, everything, them shutting everything down. If the population as a whole really discovered that collectively, that this was a setup from the beginning, you don't think that that'll cause, they call that a matter of national, what's the word? Anything that could cause the public population to go into an outrage or whatever. They don't want information like that to get out intentionally because they feel like they'll lose control or I guess we'll move into a state of anarchy. But that COVID shit was, not to say that the virus itself is not real. I still think it was introduced. I still do not believe that it was introduced to the public organically. But it's here. Right? And I don't know if you caught it or not, but when you catch it, you can tell it's a distinct difference. I've been getting sick for 30-something years. That was a distinct difference than any of the other times I've gotten sick. But I don't know, just the way that they were scrubbing the biomolecular scientists videos in the beginning when they were explaining how they were explaining lab leaks in Wuhan and how they were doing it. So they have what's called right-of-way studies, and what they do is they find pathogens. They take, and it's going to sound disgusting, but they take stool samples from animals or whatever, and they test them to see like what type of viruses and things they carry, and they take them in what's supposed to be secured labs, and they take it and they introduce it to human cells to see if those viruses have the potential to directly infect human cells, which they don't, because I'm going to break down something else in a minute. Mm-hmm. And then they try to find that carrier in between that can cause the fusion between animal viruses and human viruses, because animals have impeccable immune systems because they are constantly being exposed to things and their bodies just fight it off because they have amazing immune systems, but their immune systems aren't like ours. So this is why viruses cannot pass from animals to humans without a host, right? So around the time they had that I forgot what that they had I'll go back to that when I remember. Anyway, so this all kicked off, well, when everybody started getting sick out here is about December 2019. And everybody was going to get flu tests, and everybody's flu tests were coming back negative, but everybody's trying to figure out, like, okay, it's not a cold, and my flu test is negative, like, what's going on? Because it swept through my job quick. Like, one person got sick, and by the next week, like, you kept seeing sections of people missing in the hospital. So I was like, I fought mine off myself, but when the scientists were coming out and they were saying, like, you know, there's been a leak in Wuhan, and they were explaining, like, okay, so they had been recently testing. So you remember the whole bat, when they were joking about bat soup, right? So the biomolecular scientists were saying they were taking, and I forgot, I'll look up it's like RA- something, but it's almost, the coding for that virus is almost almost identical to the coding for what the, I don't want to keep saying the Rona, but COVID, the coding for COVID. But basically what they were saying is there was a lab leak. And this was around the time in Wuhan they were still doing testing bat species or bat feces for different viruses or whatever. and they were saying that the leak came from a Wuhan lab, but they tried to cover it up because remember we were still in doing those trade agreements with China at the time. So you know how the CCP is about. They all gas no brakes, like they don't. So basically, what the scientists were saying is they're intentionally trying to prevent this information from being released long enough for them to finish the trade deal. And so in that trade deal, they said that these would be the plans that we will stick to unless there was a stipulation, unless there was a global pandemic to occur. Right? And so after they signed the trade agreement, then that's when everybody started hearing about it a week or two later. And then now here we are freaking 2 years later. But I was telling people, like, this had to have been intentional, because why do they keep scrubbing their videos? Like, Facebook was really censorship. Mind you, Facebook has never been that strong on censorship than they were those last 4 years. But it was so much information being released, and I think that's probably the part that I learned so much during those 4 years. When white people start fighting, they start airing shit out. They start throwing laundry out on the yard. And I was learning there was so much that I didn't know. But I'm telling people, like, y'all stay out the middle of it, but pay attention to what's going on. It's a whole lot of shit that was never supposed to be released to the public. And so, and of course, there's reasoning behind that, but they started scrubbing a lot of those videos, taking them down. Anything that you couldn't even go on there and say COVID without them attaching something to it. So what are you doing all that for? Like, so now all of a sudden it's very important. We had AIDS before that. We had malaria before that. We had so many other diseases before that. And now all of a sudden COVID would come along and y'all like under these extra, I don't know. I'm just saying there's more to it. What I've learned about our government and the way that the media control, how they all collectively work together, I know that there's something bigger to it than what they're saying.
So what you think the whole agenda is?
What do you mean, the whole agenda?
Yeah.
I think
why everything is planning out the way it's planning out now.
I'll tell you, I know why everything is playing out the way that it's playing out right now, and that's because the public, they've successfully convinced a large portion of the public that the power lies within our government rather than in the people. So we could have stopped a lot of this from happening a long time ago, but because we're so afraid of pushback, so what they do is they push the idea, they put it on TV, prime time hours, and they show it all day long. This is how subconscious programming works, right? And so what happens is people leave their house, then they go to their jobs, right? And a lot of people think like, oh, I don't watch the news, I be on Facebook, that's social media. It's literally the same entity. Some people watch it on TV, some people watch it on their phones, but it's the same level of indoctrination, right? So those people leave after what they saw, and then they go to work. And they're like, oh, did you see that such and such happened today? And then they spread that idea to somebody else. The person that they spread it to probably won't even research it, right? But because they feel like that person's word is credible, they might have even interpreted what they saw wrong. But because they feel like the person's word is credible, then they pass that information off, and then it's just spreading, and nobody's really doing the research to really see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so it's just confusion. And so as long as they keep the public in a state of confusion, then it's easier to control people when they don't really know what's going on, when they're not focused. And that's why we're at where we're at, because nobody's focused. They're doing whatever they want to do at this point.
And I feel you. So still, what you think the agenda is?
There are multiple agendas. So whose agenda are we talking about?
Let's just say global. What's the global agenda? Since it all went global and a war supposedly can go global, what do you think? And who agenda was it to start with?
That's a very good question, because you have different entities, right? Both domestically and internationally, and then collectively. So that would be on the global scale. So the powerful people and all of these locations that are well connected with each other. So I'm pretty sure there's so many different, because you have the health agenda where you're dealing with the food and the things that they put in our food, then medications.
But most people's country food is different from ours.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So let me ask you, do you feel that they're trying to decrease the world population.
There are some that are interested in decreasing the world's population.
So that's what I'm saying. So what agenda you think on why they wanted to create the corona and why they feel like they have to make a fake war to hide about why the corona is fake?
I believe that they started the COVID, and this is going to sound controversial, but I don't even know if I want to say this on a public
Say
video.
it.
I believe that they created the COVID stuff.
You already know what you want to say. Just go ahead and say
I
it.
do, but I'm like, all right. So, do you remember the economy around that time?
Yeah.
Were you doing bad?
Wait a minute. Right, what time?
Financially, were you doing so in 2000, from 2016, 17, 18, and the beginning of 19? Would you say you did bad those years financially?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh, do you invest in stocks or anything like that on
No,
the side?
not at that time.
So those were there was a very, very great rise in the economy during those years, outside of the stuff that we were seeing on TV. But I believe that they created the COVID stuff to crash the economy at the time. It was doing too good under the orange on me, and they didn't.
For the whole world?
Not the whole world. I don't know. Not the whole world. But see, you got to think if America is the bully. So to say, in a I don't know, when you think of the central banking system, America really they like in control in a lot of that stuff. So if I don't know if they're more powerful than China, because we outsource a lot of our stuff.
I think China is high. It was really getting up there.
But China kicked it off, and then it was a trickle effect.
So let me ask you: do you
the CCP and our corrupt government here, they run neck and neck, just like Ukraine.
So I'm saying, so do you think that Russia, China, America, all these people is with each other?
You can't say it collectively because it breaks down. Just like in America, we not gonna be hooked up with the same people that's in the shadow government. You know what I mean? That's doing shit they not supposed to do in the government, right? But we all in America, so you can't just really break it down like that. You got to be specific, like, you know what I mean? Because there are entities, there are wealthy people that are well connected with other wealthy people in other countries that are also connected with other wealthy people, but they have businesses and things that are tied into each other that are profitable for them. So they're not caring about.
So I'm saying, okay, so like the oligarchs in Russia, if certain American, companies are millionaires, billionaires are in line with these people, why would they tie them off to where they messing up their money if we got certain business with each other?
What you mean tie them off to where?
Because like now, mind you, they're trying to section them where these people in Russia who's oligarchs ain't making no money. Would you think that's fake?
No, not in totality, but they only gonna sanction certain things. They not gonna say, because you gotta. How am I trying to put this? So they have to play into it enough, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're not sanctioning their gas. You get what I'm saying? You're not sanctioned. There are other things like why are we still accepting things from them?
So
where's
Russia at with the gas control in Europe? How much do they sell mostly to Europe?
I think it was like 15-20% they supply to Europe, something like that.
Okay.
That's the reason why they attacked Ukraine, because they felt like they had some leverage on the oil. Mm-hmm. They felt like, well, we supply 10% to America. If we go on the war, it's going to also impact them. So it's not going to just always impact us. It's going to impact every other surrounding areas. So that's the reason why they did that. It's all money. But with the whole,
so it was a collective benefit, right?
Because like they said, like when the COVID happened,
when the studies started coming out and they started seeing like, okay, everybody getting the booster shots, but they still getting sick and they still dying.
Yeah.
Right. So how are y'all going to explain? How you going to explain that? How you going to explain that to people when last year y'all was just telling people like, yeah, if you go get the vaccination that It doesn't. Okay, so first is go get the booster shot and it'll stop you. Go get the vaccine and it's not a vaccine, but go get the vaccine and it'll stop you from getting the virus. So people are like, okay, we're gonna go get it, and then people started still getting the virus. Then it's like, okay, well, here's another variant. It's not gonna stop you from getting the virus, but it'll stop you from getting severe sickness. Then people started catching the virus and still having severe symptoms and then passing away. Well, it'll reduce your chances. Like, y'all full of shit. That's why I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Okay. There's been a lot of people reporting that people that have been fully vaccinated.
The human body doesn't even work like that. Like that was kind of what opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, and it didn't even take research for that. I was like, what a vaccine? We have immune systems. Our immune systems literally fight off viruses and pathogens daily. Like you can't. There's nowhere that you can go where your immune system is not doing something. I think they said 90-something% of our human activity is subconscious. You're not telling yourself to breathe. You're not telling yourself to blink. You're not telling yourself to hear.
So let me ask you, right? So you don't think this is why I feel, this is why I kind of understand somewhat of the concept of the science with vaccines, because we always didn't have vaccines within the last 100 years. But what I'm saying, okay, put it this way: if our body has so much of a good immune system, right? People wouldn't die from malaria.
It's not true.
You don't think so?
That's not true. So look, here's the thing: there are things that you can do to help support the immune system, but that does not mean that your immune system gonna keep you from dying. The immune system simply helps you fight off things that are foreign to your body. That's it. So when you start to feel, so what I'm saying is you could have came in contact with a variant of COVID today and you could not even know it because your immune system fought it off, right? But he can come in contact with that same strand, but his body is having a problem fighting it off. So after like 2-3 days, he starts to have a runny nose. He starts to have a fever. Those are all ways that the human body is attempting to fight off something that's foreign. The fever is the body trying to heat the virus up. A runny nose is the body trying to allow the pathogen to pass through the mucus. It's the human body literally trying to save itself. So I'm like, for I understand vaccines to a certain extent with some things. I guess I'm not a vaccine person.
Let me ask you before I'm gonna let you finish. Do you feel that if they had a vaccine for the Native Americans when they first encountered Europeans, do you think that would have helped them?
You mean rather than smallpox?
Yeah, all the diseases and the pathogens.
Oh, so you say if they would have gave them COVID instead of smallpox?
No, I'm just saying if they had a vaccine for them, you think that same method of pathogens that killed them off would have helped them if they would be able to take vaccine or their body was able to be good enough to fight off that disease?
Depends on what the disease is and how it got introduced.
Smallpox.
So if it's an organic disease, there are things within nature that you can use to help fight off disease, and it's really just you boosting your immune system so your immune system can fight it off. There are no medication. There's no cure for virus. The cold is a virus.
But I'm saying, so
there's no vaccine for the human.
I'm saying, cold. So why did the Native Americans die?
What do you mean? Some of them were killed. Some
but I'm talking about the
technology isn't as advanced now.
But I'm just saying if the human body and there's certain things around that help the human body to fight off, right? And we have an immune system to help fight off pathogens. When they able to caught that pathogen of the smallpox that destroy a good percentage of them, if their body was that significant to fight off a deadly pathogen like that, and they had other remedies to help them fight that,
why did they still die? But it depends. There's so many different factors. Were they hydrated at the time? Because you also got to be hydrated.
I think so.
But that's what I'm saying. There's so many different things that could play into that could have caused. It's more than just having an immune system.
What about the Black Plague in
Had they been sleeping recently? People can die from not getting enough sleep.
I think they was getting enough sleep.
Man, I don't
listen,
I think the smallpox vaccine is real, but I think the COVID vaccine was just all a fake.
Okay, and I'm not knocking if it was. Now, what if that was trying to weaken the world so they can start, they could drop something to make somebody even sicker because now the pathogen that fucked everybody else up gonna be able to kill them quicker.
No, knock it off.
But I'm just saying, we never know. What if that was the agenda where for China, where they say, you know what, we're gonna put this fake virus out that's gonna kill some people. Come on, it was killing people,
Facts.
right? So we put this fake fucking virus out that just came out.
It's very real.
No, I mean in the sense where.
Now, the importance and urgency behind it was fake, but the virus was very real.
Okay, well, let's say that. Well, I'm saying in the sense where, how can we say that people, that it was, people think that it's man-made. Some people think that it wasn't man-made. It was just, mostly it was something.
Virus definitely came from an animal somewhere, because people, if you notice, people's dogs have been coming down with COVID too. But humans cannot pass viruses to animals without a host, which means if a human is able to pass something off to an animal, there was already a host involved. You understand me? There is no way. Have you ever caught a cold and then your dog caught a cold too? You ever got the flu and your dog got the flu too? So how in the fuck are dogs getting COVID?
Hey, can I do some? Dogs getting COVID? I ain't never heard this.
I'll wait.
Let me see. I gotta see this. Dogs getting COVID?
Dogs catch COVID. Mayo. Let's go to Mayo Clinic. This is the virus. Cats and dogs have been infected with the virus that causes COVID-19. This happened mostly after the animals were in close contact with people infected with COVID.
Hello.
They said the risk of animals spreading COVID-19 virus to people is considered low. Animals don't appear to play a major role in spreading the virus that causes COVID-19.
But they can catch it, which means there had to have been a host involved within the virus somewhere in order for that to happen. We've been coexisting with animals for the longest. We've never been able to pass off no diseases to them ever. And it just so happened, man, if I go, I literally did like a research study on this, because I was just like, I'm pro immune system. I've always been pro immune system. So, and I got that from my dad. And so when all of this stuff started coming out, I really, really started studying. And like, I noticed like I will watch the some of the scientist videos, and then I'll try to go back to see what notes I didn't take, and they took it down. And then you'll see another one put up, and I'll try to take whatever notes I could, and they'll take it back down. So I literally like kept a running tab of like different information, and I was just looking it up to kind of study. I like science.
Damn, it says if your pet becomes ill, there's reason to be helpful of the small number of dogs and cats confirmed to have the virus that causes COVID-19. Some didn't show any signs of illness. Most of the pets that did become ill had mild symptoms and could be cared for at home. Pets have very rarely become ill, but they can get ill to a certain degree. Nigga, I ain't never heard that one. No. That shit came out the laboratory out the Wuhan.
Y'all welcome.
That Wuhan.
So that's what I'm saying. So if they creating this shit, why do you think China probably put it out too well?
Not that they created it, right? It's because they take viruses from animals. So if they leaked it from a lab intentionally, because what the studies are called right away, I'll read it to you because I did it.
But then they say it'll show proof that if it was a man-made virus, but they can force like two animals to come up with the virus, right?
I'll show you. Where is that?
Because I think.
So I did like a little. I did a little study on this.
China did this it's a war tactic.
Yeah, and then I remember at the time Trump was in office and he was talking big shit to them. They was high.
See, but that's what I'm saying. So do y'all think?
For you.
That's what I'm saying. Do y'all think it was a plan for them to put that out there, make some of the world sicker?
It was a win-win because our government hated Trump and they hated Trump, and they came up. 90-something% of our medications here in Vegas are manufactured in China. So if we have to do a vaccine or any type of medication or anything, who do you think it was profitable for all of them? They all got what they wanted. They crashed the economy like they for those past few months, and they were telling him on national TV, we're going to crash your economy, because he was cocky about it. He was like, yeah, best economy, whatever, with that annoying shit, best economy ever. You've never seen an economy great. And I made some good money during those years, so I gave him that much. But they were telling him on public TV, like, okay, we'll see how long that lasts, and we're
see. So that's what I'm saying. So what if China was trying to be the new power of the world, right?
new.
You think they already is?
I mean, China has they have.
I think technology and economic wise, they're gonna be they're eventually gonna be that. But
eventually, China. You know who owns our power grid?
I'm guessing China. So I'm just saying this. So let's just say China said we're gonna create this. We're gonna make the world, some of the world population people sicker, weaker. We got the technology and the science to make our people stronger, right? And in order for us today, we go to war. We choose to go to war. We can send out something or put something else out to make them weaker, because the virus that we gave them, this could make them even more weaker. So it could be a war tactic on the world for them to be even more in power, right? So let's just say that could have just been a plan. We're going to put the disease out, and then we're going to go to war. We're going to put some other shit out. We're going to make these people weaker.
I don't think it's because of I don't think they leaked it because they want to weaken the people. It's more of to cripple the economy, because you can't go to war when American economy is at the top of the market. You know what I'm saying? So what they try to do, because even before that's why they be trying to rig elections.
Yeah.
Do a lot of these cyber attacks, and I always said China been at war with America. World War III already started. It's unconventional warfare that's happening right now. So what they did was unconventional warfare, leaking the virus. Now they might say it's not man-made, but they probably didn't had forced some animals in the laboratory to come out with the virus, leak it out, boom. All right, give it over to America. Yeah. Now they weaken the economy. Now that makes them see, because when it first happened, you see China, they locked down their whole country, boom, just like that, and they didn't have cases for months because they had everybody sitting and stop while everybody else was like have a little pity pat party, like I don't know, we should do this. We
don't know if they had cases. They reported that they didn't have any cases, but we don't know if that's true.
Exactly. That's what they say.
I'm like, y'all lied from the beginning, so if y'all expect me to believe y'all now, I definitely.
Right, and it's all a political scheme, but
yeah.
I'm just saying this. Y'all don't think this is just a war tactic between folk? No. So you don't think we're going to go to war?
Deeper than that. They don't really want to go to war. If they wanted to go to war, they would have did that a long time ago. America don't want to go to war.
Me personally,
I think because they know they're gonna meet their match
with Russia.
Oh, no. You don't think so? Russia got more atomic weapons.
Military.
America's military is the strongest because our naval and in the way we our military operation tactics we have. You see how Russia,
we got intergalactic. Yeah. They out in space now too.
Yeah.
Trump didn't put that in motion.
Right.
Trust me, it's a whole. Now I'm a military baby, so I'm like my dad. I'm like pro military. Our military is the shit. Not to say that they're not corrupt and they don't have other shit going on, but our military, if some shit popped off, they ready.
Yeah, and
you better they got plenty practice in these other countries.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so why do you feel that America choosing not to say, you know what, Russia, fuck it, we'll go to war with your ass?
Well, they got the press of the button. They don't want to do that yet.
You said, well, America don't want to. America don't want to get in the middle of that. And plus, there are too many things that America benefits from Russia in order to do that. So I don't know. It's so many different things. Like you got NATO too. That's another thing that plays into it, and whatever controversy is going on with that. So, but I don't. Yeah.
What you think NATO is with the situation?
With NATO?
Yeah.
You saying like, what do I believe they should do?
No, what you think the situation is with them in Russia and America?
Well, I know for sure our America, at least the darker parts of our American government, is in bed with Ukraine. And so the connection between that, and we're seeing like, okay, have you ever heard of the Ukraine Revolution? This was kind of going on back in like 2016, I believe, 16, 17, somewhere in there. But if you look at America, the last what was this? So 2019, 2020, you'll see a lot of the reflections of stuff like that. They have what do you call it? Like the Ukrainian like rebel army or some shit like that. I forgot the name they gave it, but they like you'll see. So what there were groups of people that left from here in America and they went overseas to try different things, to try different tactics. So for training for like, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it's true. Like for rallies and protests and things like that, and they go practice these things in other countries, and then they come back here. So this is why you'll see like a perfect example in Milwaukee. I mean, it's happened a few times. Actually, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take it back. Ferguson. Right? Remember what happened with Ferguson? Do you remember when Darren Sills came out and he was telling everybody that he didn't fuck with Black Lives Matter? Right? So you remember when it first cracked off, they were saying in Ferguson, they were saying hands up, don't shoot, hands up, don't shoot, right? And then Darren Sills started explaining how they had these groups of people that came out to their neighborhood. They didn't even know who these people were, where they were coming from, but they were coming out under the guise of support, right? We're coming out to support the cause. But then he said, as they started to intermingle, they noticed that the chant started to change from hands up, don't shoot to Black Lives Matter, right? And they started to interfight. So there was an organization of people that came in and took on. They do this every time there's an organized protest. You'll always notice that you're gonna see first the Black Lives Matter group is gonna come, and then you're gonna see the LGBT group come, and then whatever other groups come after that. But after a while, you'll notice the narrative is gonna change every time, and it's intentional. It happens every single time. And Darren Sills was trying to tell people this before he got killed, because they ended up finding him burnt up in his car with a gunshot wound in the back of his head. Rest in peace. But he was trying to tell everybody, like, there's an organization, these people get paid to travel all over the world to practice these things, and they come out and they are intentionally, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not intruding, but they're taking over, like, genuine movements, just to kind of, like, to shut them down, put it like that, so that they don't really make any traction. And that's exactly what happened. How long did we hear about Mike Brown after that? When the people came out there, look at George Floyd. Everything, it was cracking up. They weren't playing out there in Minnesota. But
so what you think the agenda for that is?
Black Lives Matter came first, and then the who's some other people, the anarchy group. I forgot what they called them. And then you got the LGBTQ, the alphabet group, and then after a while, you stop hearing about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's an ongoing process. Next time this happens, if there's another protest, the same thing is going to happen. They're gonna keep it calm for a while. Not to say that there isn't still, because the stuff that they highlight happens pretty much every day in this country, right? So whenever they show something on a public scale, there's a reason for that. So they need, like, that public influence, like, okay, we're going to highlight this particular story. They're showing it today, but it happened like 2 months ago, right? And so when they do show stuff like that, it's for a particular reason, but they're going to keep it quiet for right now because it's election season. I mean, it's election time, voting time.
So what do you think, what was the purpose for all that, for them to shut down these organizations?
like the step parents that treat everybody else better than us. Because I'm like, listen, y'all sat in there, argued over the holidays over some $600 checks, and y'all sending billions like that. Y'all ready to send billions like that overnight to another country. Get the fuck out of here.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I guess the bigger picture for them is the people who make the business.
And all of it, we going to have to pay out and pay back regardless.
I think it's more of a, I don't even think America's in business with Ukraine. I think it's just all political.
Did you say you don't think America is in business with Ukraine?
No.
They are absolutely in business with Ukraine.
I don't know, just me. I feel like Ukraine don't have any real resource for them to be in.
So you got the Podestas, you got the Clintons, you got... Hold on. I'm going to tell you.
Hunter Biden with his business.
Absolutely. So there's a combination there. CC with the CCP and with Ukraine too.
Yeah.
Well, other countries, other places too, but yeah, they absolutely. They wouldn't be over there for nothing. Come on, man. America.
No, I really believe it's like what happened in World War II. They just want to really suppress Russia's power. You know what I'm saying? They really, it's all political. Me personally, I think it's a political reason. I don't think it's economic because Ukraine don't have any real. Well, they don't have a major oil supply.
So when I say distraction, I'm talking about strictly here and the media coverage of it. Now the government. Remember, I was saying I ain't gonna comment on the government sector of that because I'm pretty sure there's so many different motives tied into why they're there.
Yeah.
Right. But the media coverage portion of it is definitely distraction oriented, and the U.S. is definitely in bed with Ukraine. Business wise, so you got the Podesta group.
Yeah, it's some political people that's in business with Ukraine, but like real raw resources, I don't think so.
Raw resources like
oil.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You know, right now, America real big on the oil game.
Yeah, but we only get like 10%.
No, we only get 10%. Well, that's from Russia, not from Ukraine. Ukraine.
Well, yeah.
Ukraine down there like a third world country.
That's true.
And they just gained independence. Was it 95? I believe, or 85. One of them. They gained independence, but they don't really have no raw resources for us. I think it's just all political. They don't want Putin to get too strong. Communists is always the other side of the world. Powerful leaders, and then you got NATO. So I don't know. What you think, Don? You think it's economical or political?
Political. I think it's political.
It's almost like Hitler.
In what ways? With Hitler?
I mean, with Hitler like trying to gain power, people they like, nah, we gotta stop this motherfucker.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it. But what really fucked him up mostly was, he really had, I don't know why, the motherfucker had really most a hatred for Jews. You know what I'm saying? So
they say he had a hatred because of it was World War I, and Germany took a severe economic loss from it, and the Jewish people was in power at the time. So he ended up having this disdain for Jewish people, and he always thought they was the reason why Germany lost. Moses had some weirdo thinking.
Yeah, he was crazy, motherfucker. Yeah. So, this was a good episode. This shit was.
Yeah, it was a good one. 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
How you like it?
Have that effect on people. No, I'm just kidding.
How you like it?
It was cool.
It was cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
Cool. Enjoyed yourself?
Huh?
Enjoyed yourself a little bit?
Enjoyed myself.
That's good. That's good.
I'll be back for more controversial topics.
Okay.
There we go.
And we need that. And we thank you for coming this time and coming again next time. Hopefully we have more people here. Yeah. So everybody listening and even watching, y'all like, subscribe, comment. When it's come up on YouTube.
It's your trendy outro.
Oh, I don't even have one.
Really?
No, I don't. I gotta find one.
Shut the show down.
I gotta find one.
All right, we go.
Yeah, that really will be it. Yeah, really will be it. So, that's it. We thank y'all for listening to Intellectually Foolish. Thank you, Money, for coming through. My good brother, Karan.
Yes, sir.
Take us out, Joe.
Nice to.
Righty.
You got anything to say before you go to the people?
No.
No?
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
All right, you go.
Be back.
All right, take us out.
All righty.
Thank you.